Right. Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
Chemda, you were the poker winner at keithandthegirl.com/chat, our chat party every single Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I am now in the semi-annual poker championship game.
You're allowed to show up? You're allowed to show up?
Earned my seat. Boom.
But this is interesting, though. Not to be a poor sport over here, because I play as well. Last week,
yes,
Xerxes won. You got second place.
Yes.
Okay. Real quick, who puts these poker games together?
God, I was going to say your mom, but she just died. Oh, shit.
Right.
I got to come up with
Xerxes and Chemda. So that's very interesting that's happening over and over again. Anyway,
Holy
let me
shit,
tell you.
We finally won. Wow. All
right.
It's
it's of note.
Please note it. Yes. Do you have your notebook?
It's noted. It's in my diary, for Christ's sake.
Great.
Here, you have to know about the Keith and the Girl schedule, dear listener. A week from tomorrow is the Keith and the Girl Comedy Marathon, our yearly marathon, 24 hours, over 50 of your favorite Keith and the Girl guests live on YouTube. All right? February 4th begins at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So right now, be subscribed. Hit that bell. Make sure you make it. Obviously, completely free. Take a look, the Keith and the Girl YouTube channel. After the marathon, OMAC Club is still going to be happening this week if you're bettering yourself with Chemda's 1 minute at a time plan. So make sure you're signed up. KeithandtheGirl.com/OMAT. Also, after the marathon, we will still be recording Last Week on Keith and the Girl. We'll be recording Q&A. Your VIP membership has it all, and it's not stopping anytime soon. KeithandtheGirl.com/VIP. In fact, I have a letter right here, Chemda. This is from Gary and says, I love the awards episode so much. We just did that the other day, of course. Your favorite, saddest, craziest moments of 2022. We played those clips. You're going to vote on them at keithandthegirl.com/forums, and then we will call the winner live coming up soon. People say, when does the voting end? Assume now. You don't just vote. You got to vote. You'll never know. They'll sneak up on you. So just vote now.
And by the way, Keith loves making this announcement because he will text us at midnight going just a random text. They had enough time, right? And we have to understand voting shuts down right now. So he loves doing that. He loves the sudden shutdown. So make sure you get your vote out. He's saying forums. KeithandtheGirl.com/forums.
If you don't care, then we don't care. This person, Gary, I love the awards episode so much, and all the VIP episode clips that made it into the awards. I never heard those. I spent all of Thursday binging VIP. I'm a new proud member.
Yay. You know
VIP
what?
alone.
Those VIP stuff like the Rod and Karen and Newsy and Bianca and Craig and your brother. I mean, these are all characters that you're getting regular full episodes of. It's amazing.
VIP alone, Jesus. There's Slash Awards. Slash Awards has all the award shows that we've done, the nominations, and when we call the winners. All of them are right there at KeithandtheGirl.com/awards. There's Slash Dad, Keith and the Dad Saga. These alone and all the spinoffs over all the years, and so much personal stuff, Gary says. I was an idiot for waiting and not realizing the content is just as great as the main show. Thanks for always taking podcasting seriously, and I'm happy to be on board. Love and kisses, Gary. P.S. When is Slash Sue going up? Wink. Slash Sue. Well, I'll tell you about that in a minute, actually. There happens to be a half an update. The awards, Chemda, have you voted yet? Because you never know when I'm stopping it.
I know, and that's very nerve-wracking. Today I started voting. And I think the hardest one for me is Best New Guest because I don't want to abstain. I think that's weak. Make a decision. Right. If you don't remember them, you're probably not voting for them. So,
right.
I will be voting by Monday. You have my word.
Swiggy says we had 25 new guests last year. Thanks to Chemda putting that together. Swiggy says there's so many guests, and I see on the forums there's brackets. Do the winners of each of these then go head to head? What happens? And I wrote him back. The winner of bracket 1 moves on. The loser of bracket 2 moves on. The middle of bracket 3 moves on. I don't know. We'll see who people vote for, and then we'll have another final thing. You'll
honestly,
figure it out.
I don't even know the answer to that because, again, Keith likes when it's chaotic. So I feel like if I ask, are we going to have more once the brackets are done, or is it a bracket system? He'll purposefully just be like, no, I'm just going to pick who votes for the most. It's you gotta wake up and do something.
There's one winner. We'll figure it out. Most goofiest moment so far, far and away, is Danny Vega for Tony Pizza. Number 2 is Dad's email on Mom dying is in second place right now, which is kind of good because if I have to call the winner and I have to call my dad, that's going to be awkward, right?
Well, you just got some people to vote for that one.
Here's a comment. Oh, man, sad to see the nomination of Keith and Kenda arguing about what a pirate is. In episode 3604, Pirate Radio didn't get used. But, geez, it would have been up against some juggernaut, so how do I even pick?
That's true. That's a good fight. Yeah.
Most saddest moment, Roe versus Wade being overturned with the great Betsy Helmuth. That's doing well. Listen to the submission, says Svaj. Keith, my heart votes for you and your mom, but I got to give it to Betsy. I remember where I was when I first heard her story. Brought back all the emotions. Best rant, Karen on superheroes is winning right now.
People know what matters.
She has thoughts on those Marvel movies for sure and the Marvel knockoffs. Most shocking moment is tied right now between Liz Shears deliberately having a stillbirth and the Mally suck off Dad's thumb. That's tied
Just
right
the
now.
titles. Could we just best title of a KATG award nomination? What the hell?
And the Sue Costello mention, she's working on. She had the show Costello a long time ago on CBS.
Can we just okay, Sue Costello is a long time comedian. She was one of the first female comics to break through in a lot of ways. She had her own show. She's been around for decades, and she's been on our show. It's been a few years, and it seems Sue and Keith made a deal, right?
Yes, she said that she made Les Moonves of CBS sign a non-disclosure agreement. He had to sign the non-disclosure agreement. And then maybe you're thinking, what the fuck does that mean? Yeah. So that's happening. She's suing CBS. It's about being treated wrong as a woman, not about the Me Too movement. That's a big trick, she says. You'll see everything's coming to light. The patriarchy is going down. She's filing lawsuits, this and that. I see on we rate through Twitter DMs. And in 2019, she said, I'm writing an op-ed. It's going to drop this week, back in 2019. And I said, I will have keithandthegirl.com/sue. And anything you give me, a video, this op-ed, whatever you want, that's going to be your website. And I'm going to put this shit up for you for free. Just give me whatever you're talking about. And nothing has been happening. 2020, she said, it's about to go down. I'm getting the story edited now. I got a bunch of journalists coming to me, and I want you to be in on it. And I said, all right. Cut to 2021. She said, I'm filing a lawsuit next week. What email do I send it to? I said, info@keithandthegirl.com. She said, it's so fucking good. Thank you. You ever make a lawsuit and just be like, this is so fucking good? Well, she has. This past Saturday, she said, hello, I hope you're great. I'm filing my suit this week. It's happening, Kemda. We're going to figure out what's going on. She's taking down CBS.
You know what this is? It's
the
your
Tiffany
dad.
Network.
It's your dad catfishing you.
It's my dad catfishing me. I hope you're great. I'm filing the suit this week. I'm making it into a shareable Google Doc. Will you share the shit out of it for me, she said. Of course I would. She said, I have a rock solid case. I got them on material breach and fraud. And I'm filing it in federal court under the 14th Amendment. What's that? What's the 14th Amendment?
I got to look that
vote?
up. You know what? I don't. 14th.
They discriminated against me because I'm a woman, and the New York AG showed me proof, and I'm going to subpoena the emails. I said, stop your teasing and start your pleasing. Of course, let's go. She said, no more teasing. It took a while to get it rock solid. It was brutal, but I did it. And then she said, today, what's your email address? I said, info@keithandthegirl.com. She says, thanks. I'm going to send you the filing as soon as they give it to me. Give me a docket number. And then I picture the narrator. There would never be a docket number. But she said, nowadays you got to do everything your fucking self. I represented myself, and it's EX. And I said, EX, is that extra extraordinary? She said, I meant easy. It's easy, and my case is rock solid. It was surviving the retaliation that was the battle. It's coming to him to everybody doubted the great Sue Costello. But we're going to see this lawsuit, and it's going to turn things upside down. 2023 is Sue's year of the rabbit, and it's starting with a bang. How do we top that? I'll tell you how. With today's guest.
By the way, I'm looking at this 14th Amendment, and
Search and seizure.
I gotta say, I would have to read it a little more carefully, but it seems like you have the right to sue, or
Sue. Yeah, she loves puns on her name.
Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process
life and
of
liberty.
Law.
Life, and that's what this is about at its core. Life and liberty. Being a strong woman. You know when she fell in love with me? This is true. It was the last time she was on twice. And it takes, you want to like put distance between the times to really take in what happened. But the last time she was on, she said she's shitting on Hollywood. And I'm like, aren't you a little scared to do that? And she's like, why? I'm like, I don't know. Don't you at least think, hey, is this affecting my career? Even if you're in the right, whatever the fuck's going on, even if you're in the right, you're shitting on people that can give you jobs. You have to second guess, right? And she goes, no. And that's interesting. You're scared, Keith. Ever since then, she keeps tweeting every so often that I'm a superhero because I'm a man that finally admitted he's scared. And now we're best buddies.
Oh, the low bar that is male.
Well, I'm brave.
Congratulations, Braveheart. You are a superhero. Oh, we already said that already, right?
Well,
my goodness, I am just being redundant like a female. Ugh. Let's introduce another male, please, Keith.
Well, this guest has been on 12 times. I'm talking about the great Kevin Allison. I'm looking at some show titles right now. Full Frontal is the name of one of them. Let's see here. Pissing Contest. Dirty Frank. Grill Marks. That's dirty somehow. The No Place.
I mean, just based on the titles, he's one of our favorite human beings.
Grow and Tell. Go to keithandthegirl.com/Kevin Allison. Check out all the shows. Kevin Allison. Hello, Kevin.
Hello.
Happy New Year.
God.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. This time of year is always so screwy for me.
How so?
Why?
I just get so discombobulated at the beginning of a year. Well, for one thing, the holidays and all the crazy partying is over. So you have a little bit of a come down, right? But I think so much in terms of like story that it's always like, where am I at now in my life? 1 year more, and where is the journey? And I always have like an existential crisis at about this time of year.
You know what? It's fair, and I had an epiphany this year about this time of year, because it's when people set new goals and where was I? Where am I going? All this shit. Exactly what you just said. And really, their faces just look horrified and distant. Why? Because I don't think this is the time of year for that anymore. I think we need to get realistic. That time of year might be February, perhaps March, if we're being extra gentle this year. And here's why. In December, we party so fucking hard. We have no energy, no time, and hardly a breath, let alone money to support our new ideas, to even have a new idea in January. All we're going through in January is, wait, I'm an adult who agreed to work for a living. That's all you need to deal with in January. That's what January should be. Wait, how do I do my job again? Not what's the new job? How could I add? How can I clean my place more? Like, okay, let's go back to reality. That's all of January. Then in February
agree,
we start talking.
It always works that way anyway.
Of
it always ends
course.
up being that, okay.
We're human beings.
End of January, early February, you're like, oh, all right. Now because also after the holidays, you've got all the catching up to do from the work that wasn't being done.
Which is such shit. Like that's so funny because we all stop answering emails or anything in December. Like, oh, I don't know, I'm at work, but am I technically? Sure. We pretend to not take 3 weeks off. We take 5 weeks off. Okay,
Right.
fine.
Exactly.
We come back to work. It takes us a week to figure out like the alarm has to be set. Just shit like that. So let's live in reality. You haven't done anything yet. It's January 27th. Did you stay? Did you wake up this
Hydrated.
morning?
I'll tell you what I haven't done in
Drink
January.
water. Yes, please.
Sex. Like
Sex?
what? Like in December, there was so much partying going on. I was like, maybe I'm not poly single anymore. It looks like I might be. It looks like I might have 3 boyfriends, like official boyfriends.
Oh
And-
my God, you are scaling down, you prude. What is this new Kevin? That must be January energy. That's crazy.
No, I mean like official. Official, like not just like casual.
You don't even have enough rings on finger. Like, which rings are you putting 3 boyfriends on? All right,
He means
never
not
mind.
at a convention. He means
yeah,
around town.
exactly.
Right.
But no, I think everyone gets so discombobulated in January. I'm like, wait, am I dating anyone? I am going to San Francisco next weekend, so I'm like, all right,
He's back. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, phew. Oh, my God. I thought your dick was just going to stay in this situation. I was feeling for you.
Do you look when not having sex for like a month, and we heard about your kind of sex from the show titles. Do you ever look down and be like, oh, that's what it looks like when balls aren't red and swollen?
Oh my gosh, did I even tell you guys about when I got male what is it called? Male yeast infection. I guess I knew that was a thing. But yeah, that and I got it right when the monkeypox scare was
Yeah, you did,
happening.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Which is so
Yeah.
interesting that we have to use pronouns with yeast infection, too. I got a special male one. I'm still identifying myself. Even Zoom makes you pick he, him, So why not yeast infection? I got a he, him yeast infection. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, that sounded really scary.
Yeah, they were everything was especially red and swollen. But no, yeah, I mean, there's still masturbate. I still manage to make
Sure, you're
myself
human, yeah.
red and swollen all
Right,
all
okay.
alone.
Do you torture yourself when, like, you've told stories about people that hanging shoes off your balls, this kind of thing. When you're by yourself, do you get a little violent?
Not violent, but I have like intense nipple clamps
Oh.
and ball stretcher and cock ring. So
All those things were in the movie Hostel. Okay, that's violent.
yeah. I mean,
Wait, that you use on yourself?
yeah. It's I don't know. I'm just so in the habit of having those things, and
Do you have to have all 3, and what's the timing on nipple clamps, for example?
well, I just all at once. I mean, so that I'm not like in the middle of play having to like, oh, hold on, let me apply this new thing. So I've just gotten in the habit over the years of putting all 3 on at once. And the nipple clamps I have, here's the thing. I've learned people with severe ADHD are more prone to be kinky because we want extra stimulation. So that's what it's about. It's like having some pain here and some pain there.
To remind you what you're doing. What was I doing again? Oh, right. I'm in pain. I'm having sex. Yeah.
It's just interesting that affects ADD people. You guys fuck and you're like, boring.
You just called nipple clamps Adderall. That's a new one.
It'd wake me up. I'd pay attention. I would have paid attention in history class if I get a fucking nipple clamp all of a sudden. When we're talking about old Europe.
I get so worried about my nipple clamps because they're from Berlin, and I've never seen any other. They have teeth. They have jagged metal teeth. I had to get. I went to the. I used to have piercings in my nipples, and my doctor was like, "Okay, it's going to be the clamps or
Pick
the
one.
piercings. If it continues to be the clamps and the piercings, you ain't gonna have nipples anymore very soon."
Are they like hanging on by a thread?
Yeah. But now they're very big, So yeah, I got rid of the piercings because I prioritized the clamps, of course, because the clamps have teeth. But if I ever lose those clamps, I might have to fly back over to Berlin because I've never found them anywhere else online or anything.
I hear
Anybody
that. Once
ever
you
have-
find good clamps, yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody ever have to like jump your car battery and you get horny?
Yeah, they would totally. They are that.
Oh my god! Now, does regular pain bother you? Like, for example, I have bad knees. Would that not bother you?
Yeah, wasn't it Oscar Wilde, I think, that said it's like the difference between stubbing your toe and then stubbing your toe again and again on purpose. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like stubbing your toe on accident and being like,
Right.
"Ooh, that hurt," or doing it over and over, like when you consciously know you're doing it and being like, "Ooh, this hurts."
But I feel like you and I would pick different things for which one of those is better and more comfortable.
Yeah, I'd rather just once.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty much done once I say ouch. Like
Right.
yeah, where you're like ouch. Ouch gives you ideas.
Now, if you're new to Kevin, you can tell right away. Very giving person, not shy at all. He hosts the podcast Risk, where people tell stories that, the normal society you would never hear, and it's a fantastic podcast. Recently, and this happens every so often. Somebody asked
if you
us,
will allow me, recently we revealed on one of our VIP episodes, keithandthegirl.com/VIP, someone who emailed us saying, "Hey, I've been meaning to ask you this. Take my episode down."
Yes, it was Perry Strong. He's in the new horror movie Smile. He's the black cop with an attitude, and it's odd to me when this happens. Rachel Sennett, the woman in Bodies, her as well, and asked us to take it down because there was something so she felt personal. Anytime somebody asks us, it's never the ones that are so crazy, by the way, which is interesting. But it's so offensive to me because me and Kenda said some things too. Right? That we'd like. B, if they take the time, which they usually don't, if they take the time to say, I don't like this section, they pick a time, but I check out that time and it doesn't make sense. It's halfway through a sentence. There's also callbacks that won't make sense later because you're so fucking insensitive. It drives me fucking nuts. It's not affecting your career, by the way. Has this happened? Had you had to deal with that with people telling you such personal stories?
Oh, definitely. And
how do you handle it? And are you offended?
Well, in order to get such personal stories out of people, I have to be very therapist-y. You know what I mean? So I'm very, very accommodating with all that kind of thing, and especially if there's a legal thing, if a person is like, oh, now I'm in this big, divorce lawsuit and I might lose the kids or whatever. And, that kind of thing where I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. But yeah, it does.
For the record too, it's never that thing. It's always a made up thing.
Yeah.
The agent didn't tell them to do something either. They're just like, I'm in movies now, so let me take this out. And I'm like, okay, but your movie, Bodies, is all sexual, and you thought you were being too sexual on the podcast.
Well,
Perry Strong, the movie's about trauma, and you thought you were sharing too much about trauma. It's interesting.
Yeah, it'll be things like I don't want to name the movie star, but like, in this story, I'm rude in a way that comes off as maybe not, I guess, as politically correct as it could be because I have a little bit more privilege than the other little girl in the story. And, it's just like, okay, but you're in the 5th grade. You know what I mean? Like, all right, we'll get rid of it.
But you'll do it. You'll take it down. Like we number our shows. All of a sudden, numbers are just missing. Do I say this person asked? Is there just a placeholder now? Show number 1000. I'm just making up a number. It's show number 1022. Johnny asked for the show to be taken down.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do? You didn't think about us at all.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, what's funny is that um, I have set, like, for example, I used to be a guard at MoMA, and I have a story about all the ridiculous things I did while I was stoned out of my mind
Oh, thank you for your
guard,
service.
as a guard at MoMA, right? And our own lawyer was like, okay, very funny story, but these couple of sentences here, you might want to get rid of those. You might not want to be associated with that level of art.
Right.
And you having been there, you know what I mean? I'll just leave people guessing as to what the hell that might mean. But yeah, like there have been. And
What's a couple of things that your lawyers passed on that, like that they were okay with, that you thought they would stop you? Like, what kind of stuff did you do that you thought?
In one case, like the family, okay, a person told a story about having dated someone, and then he was a child rapist. He was a whatever, child molester, whatever. And so he was convicted, and he went to prison, and it was in the papers and everything. And his family was really upset at us that we had run this, because it was like, I don't know, maybe he was out of prison now or something like that and was trying to rehabilitate himself or something. I don't know what it was, but they wanted us to take it down. And we were like, I mean, his name is in the paper. It's in the record. He was convicted, you know? So I was
You
like,
took that down?
no, we did not take it down.
Okay.
I said to them, the storyteller did say the guy's full name, so I'll cut out the last name of the guy. You know what I mean? Like, out of respect to the family and not wanting to. Whatever.
Oh my goodness! It's so much editing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of consideration.
Yeah.
And I'm calling it consideration, but that's not the right word for the record.
Yeah. I do like that our show's live.
Yeah.
You know, just even for that too.
Yeah.
I remember somebody, I said, oh, I'm scared I talked about my ex-boyfriend, but not that he has a history of it, but I'm scared that he'll get violent towards me if that show's still up. And I'm like, all right, let me look at your social media with you. All the shitting on the breakup and the boyfriend on Twitter. I'm like, this is offensive now.
Yeah. A fella wanted to share a story. I mean, what the fuck? Who's going to ever find out? I'll make it a little bit vague. You know, it's years ago. He's a lifeguard and at a beach, and I mean it was many years ago, decades ago. He's a lifeguard at a beach. Gay basher. There's been a lot of gay bashings happening at that time around that beach. One day he's chased by a bunch of gay bashers and thinks, I'm a really great swimmer. I'll just swim away. And this like Sylvester Stallone looking guy is chasing after him, swims after him. And he swims out so far, he's able to turn around at one point and say to the guy, look, buddy, you keep following me. You ain't going to make it back. And sure enough, that guy drowned. And I said to the storyteller, you should.
Wait, which one of them died?
The gay basher. You know, the lifeguard guy was such a good swimmer. He knew he could swim out so far that guy wouldn't be able to get him. And then he was like, literally let him know.
And the guy trying to get him, did he continue pursuing him after he let him know, hey, you're not going to make it back?
Yeah. I believe so, right? Yeah.
Don't you calm down after doing aerobics? Like, you're running, you're doing a triathlon, and you still want to punch someone for being gay. Wow, you're holding on.
Yeah,
that's a lot. That's a lot.
Risking your life. So yeah, that guy did end up drowning, and so I said, look, talk to your own lawyer. You know, I mean, because ultimately it would, if he ever did get in trouble, it would be on him, not Risk, you know. And his lawyer was like, this is fine. The statute of limitations is gone. And I mean, there's
what's the
good
crime?
Reason for, I mean, you were fleeing for your own life, right. That, you know, So yeah, but it was that storyteller's wife who stopped us from running that story because she was too concerned that the lawyer's advice wasn't good enough and that somehow it might come back to bite them in the ass. And they knew that they could go by. Here's another thing.
I like it. By the way, I like any show that knows they have to have a lawyer. This Risk podcast, you want to be part.
People know, everyone who does Risk is told that you can go by a fake name and that we encourage you to if you have any concerns about anything like that in the future.
And that the show is called Risk.
Yeah, and the ones that have really pissed me off are the ones where the storyteller is like kind of angry at us, like, take this down, like I asked you to take it down like 2 days ago and it's not down yet or something like that. And it's like, you knew you could have gone by a fake name to begin with and all that kind of thing. So yeah, it can get annoying sometimes, but here's the thing. We don't get as many in the early days of Risk. Really, one of the reasons that the podcast took off was that a lot of bigger names did it, at that time. And bigger names are just far, far less likely to do the show at all anymore because of the nature of it. I mean, even friends of mine in the state are like, I'm afraid of what I might say on that show, so it's kind of a pisser.
Yeah, you could tell sometimes people ask for a show to be taken down and they don't even remember necessarily why. Like, can you tell me the number about, like, you're asking me to do work now. Even if I was, what show was it? What was the set? Like, everybody's so fucking self-centered. And every time too, I'm like, would you ask Fallon to take it down?
Well, you. Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. This is such shop talk right now because people who complain about our releases too. I'm like, would you be losing your mind over This American Life? Because I will let you know, they gave us their release. Right. You're signing the same release you signed over
there. Of course. By the way, speaking of the holidays, what parties did you go to? Because I'm picturing ornament play. I'm picturing, jingle balls. I don't know what that means, but I know you did it.
Oh my God. I was debaucherous, and it was mostly right here at home. I mean, I did go home. Here's the thing. When I go home to Cincinnati, it's that Get Out feeling, like the movie Get Out, like, I've always felt like Cincinnati, like, sexuality doesn't exist there. You know what I mean? Like sexuality itself is like I never saw it happen there. You know what I mean? There's no proof that it happens there.
I choose to believe them, but
right. So ever since I was in college, when I go home, I start to feel kind of suffocated and stifled. And obviously it's all like archetypal, like, psychological shit from my past. But I used to fly home, or I used to fly back to New York when I was like in college and afterwards, and literally take my luggage to a 24-hour sex club and be like, yeah, can you check this stuff? And
I'm in a hurry.
Yeah. So yeah, when I came home from Cincinnati this time around, it was just, this place was a crazy town. And then I got into this, oh my God, I've really got to clean the apartment, which I think I've lived here for like 6 years or something like that, and like
never cleaned once.
Hadn't done the deep reorganizing of things in a long time, and kind of lost my mind doing that, like just this epic cleaning of the apartment process, and then I was like, it has never looked better. And since then, there's no sex.
You're all set.
There's no one to see the goddamn clean apartment now.
Now wait a minute. Did you just yada the crazy parties and gave us details about how your apartment is clean now? What's going on?
No. I didn't. I you know what? Here's the interesting thing. Not parties, just one-on-one. I have become someone who's no longer so much into the sex party kind of thing. The more kinky I've gotten, the more interested I am in just like one-on-one. Like even when I do go to like some sex party or something, like I'm usually just gonna focus on one person the entire night anyway, and
Oh my
try
God.
to find
I have to tell you this. You and all of the rest of our gay friends, do you know when you talk about your life like it's boring, you are still blowing most people's minds. When you go like, even when I go to a sex party now, I feel like I mostly only sleep with one person. I mean, that's the weekly sex party. The daily sex party, I skip every Tuesday. I'm just not as much of a party animal. It's just so interesting.
He's
Really
afraid he's going to
reeled
sound
it
like a
in.
square. Meanwhile, I'm turning on CNN. Like, can they do the New Year's without drinking?
right.
I'm seeing a story here. A Canadian woman caused $10 million in damages after driving drunk because she's drunk. She crashed into a house, caused an explosion, is now suing a concert venue that provided the alcohol. Crashed into a house, caused $10 million in damage in the neighborhood.
And she's but what was the venue that sold the alcohol?
She's 26 years old, Daniela Lease. She was driving home from a Marilyn Manson concert at a Budweiser Gardens Arena in London, Ontario.
The place is called Budweiser Gardens.
Yeah. They buy
It's going
everything
to be Budweiser Gardens versus drunk person.
right.
That's going to be a first.
After drinking at the show and getting behind the wheel, she crashed her Ford Fusion, registered to her father, into a brick home, rupturing a gas line and triggering a massive explosion that destroyed 4 houses.
My God.
Injured 7 people. Falling embers led to blazes in several homes nearby.
Oh, shit.
The entire neighborhood had to be evacuated with gas and water service shut off in the area. The blast caused damages in the neighborhood of $10 million to $14.7 million.
Okay, now I love that this is an article that gave us some really good detail, how many houses got affected, what's happening now, but had to, in the column, and this is print, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got this from a newspaper, had to, in print, go, totally wasn't her car, it is under her father's name, she's 26 years old, just side note. That was such a brunch moment in the article, and then
Right.
And then we're back, hey, $10 million in damages. This is the kind of situation that we're in now. Like, P.S. Not her car. Okay. Anyway, back to the news.
Victims included 2 police officers and 2 firefighters who suffered numerous injuries. One firefighter forced to spend more than a week in a hospital after being discharged.
Yikes.
Holy shit. Now, what about the gal? Was she hurt?
Well, she pled guilty. So this happened in 2019. She pled guilty to 4 counts of impaired driving, was slapped with a 3-year prison sentence in 2021.
Wow.
This month, she and her father filed a lawsuit against Ovations Ontario Food Services. They claim that the libations purveyor shares liability for the blast on the grounds that staffers, quote, ejected Lise from the venue, the girl, ejected her from the venue while failing to take steps to ensure she would not drive home, according to legal documents. We've all been to sporting events or concerts. Should they give you a quiz? You gotta take a fucking another one. They go, here's another one, $18,000, please.
They do give you a quiz. When you walk in, they go, do you have your license? And if you go, holy shit, I am of age and remembered, they go, you passed the quiz. We understand that you are old enough to make the decision later, just like you did just now, by passing the quiz and getting the piece of paper that says, I have passed the quiz. and then you are responsible for the decisions that you make. And that's why we're checking your ID to go, hey, are you responsible enough for what you're about to do? And you go, yeah, look at me. Look, I got a responsibility check. So
that's why I have a non-driver's state ID, because I know that I could accomplish everything she accomplished there without the help of Budweiser.
That's right. Lise also alleged that Ovations had served her alcohol while aware that she was intoxicated. They knew, she says, accusing them of putting profit above safety. Like, your $6 is so fucking important to them.
Well, she's putting money above safety then. Then where is her responsibility then?
The resulting damage was caused or contributed by the negligence, breach of duty, breach of contract. Let's say she's an alcoholic. This kind of mentality isn't going to be good for her sobriety. It's Budweiser Garden's fault. All right. As reparations, they believe that the booze distributor is responsible for, quote, any awards or judgment amounts resulting from multiple court claims levied against them. That is,
they
this
just
article
don't want
says,
to pay for the damage that happened because you happened to, because you were impaired, because you decided to drink, you happened to hit the perfect thing on this house to destroy that amount, and you are so lucky that nobody died that you need to walk away and just be grateful for that and fix the rest of the shit that's going on in your life.
Yep. Amen.
Well, no, I mean, it's so funny that the father is helping her sue at the age of 26. He's like, you fucked up my car. All he wants is the money for his fucking car. And he's like, the least you can do is sue this place with me. And she goes, well, it was your car, and now I have to live with you because I just went to jail. You know what I mean? Like, this sounds just like anybody but us is responsible for this shit.
I'm reading it. Here's a fun story. A New Jersey woman pushing 30 years old. That's another brunch moment, like you're saying. Pushing 30 years old already.
It's very specifically said for people who are edited and write for a living. Those are very specific words. Yeah.
Oh, Crow Eyes Janet over here.
Yeah. I wonder what, like, because the article just said whatever we're about to read, she's too old to have done.
Right.
You know,
a 30-year-old woman who apparently loved laughing her entire fucking life, based on her lines. Pushing 30 years old, faked her way into a New Brunswick high school, acting like she was one of the students. She was too old for that. 29 years old. She is accused of showing, this is Haijong Shin, 29, accused of showing a forged birth certificate to school officials to attend classes with teenagers. She was caught after 4 days of attending classes.
Now, those 4 days, they should just be like, you know what? You made it 4 days. You don't talk about it. We don't talk about it.
That's right. Don't announce it. It's humiliating. These people are teaching my kids. You're idiots. You know how she got caught? She did all her homework. She actually answered the teacher's questions.
Yeah, right.
She was very polite and
she was
really
her
stood
own
out.
tiger mom there.
I thought that, like, what would, if I, you know what you know now, redo your life, you'd kick ass. But man, if you had to go to school again for 18 years, thank God kids are dumb. If we realized how long 18 years is, and I got to go to school, that is an insane amount of time. That's crazy. Then she starts doing it again. Like, I'm going to get a boyfriend this time. I'm going to actually learn history. And then by day 4, she's like, 8 hours a day? Fuck this. I'm an adult. Yeah, you can ask to go. I don't know. Can you go to the bathroom? Fuck this.
Also, doesn't it seem like it's not safe to pretend you're older, and it's not safe to pretend you're younger? You don't want to put yourself in a lawful situation where you're like, no, I just wanted to hang out with teenagers or younger. That's not. Yeah, that's just totally regular.
My concern there. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But also, as an adult, like, aren't you immediately reminded that high schools don't really teach life skills, like all the shit you really need to know?
Yeah,
I know. As an adult, don't you go, oh, Oh, yeah, YouTube. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, right.
I never had to put 2 extra hydrogens into my salt, but I would like to have learned how to do my taxes.
Right.
Yeah. That would have been nice. Netflix is going to put out a show based on the Squid Game show. You remember Squid Game?
Mm-hmm.
This is called Squid Game: The Challenge. It's a reality show. Now,
I
they're not
assume
going to
they're
kill
not
people.
killing
They're not
people.
killing per se, but they will have you go through, the events that happened in the TV show. I
That's
assume.
fun.
I assume when glass breaks under you, there's padding this time, but they will be offering real money.
So it's like Fear Factor, but
Yes.
now we're calling it something different because we're Netflix.
Exactly.
I get that. Okay, that sounds fun. I don't want to eat anything like Fear Factor does, but other than that, yeah.
The game show is based on the hit series of the same name, in which 456 contestants compete for about $4.5 million cash prize. So that could mean that's the actual amount that they're going to let people win. But they were doing the green light, red light game. Remember this? So it'd be like red light and everybody would have to stop. Green light, you can run to the other side. If you move during a red light, they shot you in the face. Let's see. During that game, the temperature happened to be 26.6 degrees Fahrenheit during shooting. And of course, now you're shooting things, so they got to redo things. You have to pause. It's not as dramatic as go, stop, go. It's go, stop, wait, resetting.
Lighting.
And people's feet were freezing, they said. That some people couldn't walk. They had to crawl. Netflix says everybody was fine. Contestants are saying we were more than not fine. Some people had to be taken in stretchers.
Oh.
So this could be a good show.
Sounds delightful.
Some people couldn't move their feet because they were so cold. Some people were crawling. We ended up standing sometimes still for 30 minutes at a time. Even if hypothermia kicked in, then people were willing to stay, says one contestant. People were still willing to stay for as long as possible because a lot of money was on the line.
So it's real Squid Games.
Yeah, too many people were determined not to move, so they stood there for far too long. Yeah, people do the dumbest shit. Billed as the biggest reality competition series ever created, The Challenge is a near-perfect doppelganger of Squid Game, from the competitions, the Spartan bunk beds, to the creepy animatronic doll that barks orders during red light, green light. And the 10-episode series will continue filming next month.
In the United States or in Korea?
It's been recorded in the UK, but we'll be able to see it for sure. Yeah. 4.5 million given away. We'll be able to see it for sure.
Isn't this what they were proving in the original Squid Game? Is that people are willing to lose their life to get out of debt, to be financially free,
right?
To have that freedom that comes with millions of dollars.
Do they point out that if you're in the Squid Game reality show, you didn't understand Squid Game?
Yeah, you start thinking like, what's a pinky toe when I'm going to have $4 million? I bet I can get another pinky toe with my $4 million.
Let's see. Margaret says, my problem with the game show based on Squid Game is that it overshadows the point of the movie, which was to highlight desperation and infighting within the lower socioeconomic classes. Of course, you're not going to have millionaires competing in this.
Well, I think that's what it is. It's the same thing with this reality show. It is that desperation. It's how, what are you willing to lose for money? Like how happy do you think that you will be with money? Because when you don't have money, it's like, this will literally solve every single one of my problems. Because it kind of will.
I wonder if sometimes they go, in this game you have to eat dog shit. And then people are like, all right, if I have to, and they go, no, that would be illegal. We just want it on camera that you would. you fucking weirdo.
Because there's another thing that lets you know that they have enough lawyers to say that I, as a human being, can eat this much shit and still survive. That's what contestants are probably relying on. If you tell me I can hold my breath for 2 minutes, that means you cleared it with your lawyers. You wouldn't want to be Netflix and help me die. So I assume that all of this is safe to some degree.
Right.
And that's why I think people agree to it.
Right.
Yeah.
If you guys can stomach this over the weekend, I want to talk about this on Monday. I haven't seen it yet, but there's a show on Netflix called Don't Pick Up the Phone. And what I'm being told it is, Craig saw it, a guy, they caught him, but a little too late, would call McDonald's, these kinds of places, and make the managers do sick shit to the employees on camera, on the CCTV in the manager's office. One story I understand.
By the way, you have
that,
it just a little off, and that little off is very, very strange.
What's this?
They would ask not the managers. A lot of times it would be female managers would be asked to call their husbands, and their husband would
this
come
is one
in.
story. Hold on.
Okay.
This is one of the stories. This is the story that I kind of know about, where this guy called and said, "Hey, I'm the head manager of McDonald's. We found out somebody stole $50 that works for you. Do you have somebody with short hair and green eyes?" And they're like, "Yeah, Janet." They're like, "I don't know why I'm picking on Janet today." Janet, and they're like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, that's her. We need. Is there a guy that you trust in your life?" And and I didn't. I'm just repeating what I heard. He's like, "I don't know. I trust my husband." Okay, a husband who doesn't even work there. Have the husband come in. The husband comes in to punish her. Janet has to give your husband a blowjob. It's like, what? Yeah, I'm the head. Right, you're right, Kevin, with that face. And it's like, well, okay. Do I I'll cover the cameras off of it. Like, nope, keep the cameras on because we don't want any misunderstanding going on. And this girl gives him a blowjob. He thinks like Ronald McDonald's talking to him. And apparently this happened often. This is between Squid Game and this is obviously a lot worse. Wow. We have, this is a fucking crazy world we live in, and that we're able to get by with these being our neighbors. What the fuck, and I get people are comparing it to like, people supported Nazism because everybody's not as brave as they act. I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Before we even compare it to Nazism, there was an experiment run. We were talking about this in the chat also, compared to, this guy is calling, saying he is whatever authority, and people are following him because he said he's an authority. They did that experiment where an authority figure would say, "Hey, electrocute that person."
Right.
And you're a part of an experiment, or even if you didn't, like, this person deserves this punishment, you electrocute him. Then they warn the people who are part of the experiment. They say, if you need to electrocute him one more time, this one will be fatal. And people went ahead and did it and thought that they killed people. And so the person who has authority now suddenly turned you into a killer. So were you a killer that whole time? Or do people really follow authority because they know, I don't know, this person knows so much more than me that they know why this is right. I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. I mean, are they killers now?
Yeah, everybody acts like they're free thinkers, but nobody wants to seem stupid. I took advantage of it as a waiter. People would be like, "What's the ribeye cut?" And I'm like, "The back to shoulder, And they're like, "Yeah, I know. That sounds good." I'm like, "Good, you fucking idiot." Nobody, you don't want to look dumb, and that helps me not having to worry about the menu.
Anna is reminding us that the experiment is the Milgram's experiment.
Oh,
and then I heard, somebody was telling us, Viola Chick in the chat, she was saying that they didn't even tell them that they didn't really kill a person.
Yeah, in order to keep the experiment, whatever scientific, I don't even know what. I'm afraid to paraphrase because I'm not the PhD that she is. But those people who thought they killed someone, they never said, "By the way, this was all for the experiment. You actually didn't kill a person." So forever, people who were in that experiment, because it was long ago and we didn't have to go through certain protocol, they just thought they killed someone, but for a reason.
Good. And they shouldn't have to tell them. Live your life thinking you killed a person. Now, hopefully you live the rest of your life trying to make amends for it. Good. Now you're just an asshole again. You're going, "Oh, I didn't kill anybody." Good. And then you're going to live your life being the same dopey asshole. Good. Think you killed somebody, you fucking
I don't know
psychopath.
how helpful that is, but I understand your
anger. As helpful as you can get. Think you're a murderer and feel bad. And help the homeless.
But also how grotesque for Netflix or who's ever producing that show.
Netflix,
like constantly pushing that kind of thing further.
Ugh. What do you mean? Because they have a lot of documentaries. I'm a murderer. I'm a stalker. Now they have I pretend to be authority and get people to sexually assault an employee?
Yeah,
Is that
I
what you're
mean,
saying?
yeah, I mean, aren't the producers of that show like exploiting people and like,
I don't know. Is risk?
well, I mean, it.
It's stories that people want to know that we should potentially not
Oh, oh,
make
oh,
taboo in order to understand that this exists in the world. Is that what a
McDonald's, for
documentary is?
example, was getting all the.
I see. So it's a documentary about
Did you think
someone
it was
who.
a show where they're doing it and we're like
Oh
watching,
yeah,
like, let's see if they
thought
get
the
them?
whole idea was every episode
Holy shit.
it's a prank sort of thing where
That's some
Oh,
prank.
Kevin. Okay. You were being very gentle. I was like, I don't understand. Why is he? That's weird. And I thought, okay.
I was like,
Because listen to this new prank show.
wait, this major network making people give other people blowjobs.
Oh, they found a line for Kevin.
Impractical Jokers is like, how do we up it in 2023? Let's make them give blowjobs.
Oh, Kevin. Wow, you must have just went through some shit over there.
No, these are crimes that happen, and they know the one guy who did it.
Okay. This is a
But-
true crime story.
Right. I also like that they are showing
Oh my
this
God.
because people are so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And McDonald's in this case, apparently they knew this was going on in different restaurants and wasn't telling anybody. Now, why you should have to tell somebody is amazing to me, but you do. And they tried to keep it a secret. And so that's why the show's called Don't Pick Up the Phone. So good. Put it on TV for these other fucking idiots to know. No, if you just because somebody perhaps stole money, you don't have them plug your husband. How do you live? And by the way, I didn't see this show yet, but I understand people come on and tell their story. You wouldn't get me telling my story if I got my husband to blow. What the fuck?
Oh my God.
I don't know.
How are you a
it
kid
sounds-
and then your mom's on TV going, I just assumed because you gotta trust the police and Jesus.
I think it's the same people who, have gotten out of a cult, who, something captured your mind and it is embarrassing. And you hope that like you have become so aware and because it happened to you, you're like, apparently it can happen to a human. Call me
I think
stupid, call
cult
me whatever,
leaders,
but
I think cult leaders get too much credit for being geniuses, and the members get not enough credit for being fucking idiots.
Totally.
unfair.
Unfair?
I had this theory for the longest time. I would watch all these cult documentaries and be like,
They're all
guy
stupid.
is
These people are always
not that
stupid.
charismatic. And then we had QAnon, where there wasn't a fucking leader. And
see, that's
and
what
you
I
had
think.
all
I
these-
think maybe you're right that the cult leader gets too much credit because it usually is the communal effect that has a good. It's people looking for friends like we all are. It's people looking for community, and it's people who are finding like-minded people. It is usually the guru, the head of the person, who starts putting shit into the well. So it's actually the leader that ends up destroying it. These people were looking for happiness and simplicity.
Like
so
that story
I
from
don't think that's stupid. I think that, because you have this wonderful space that you all found yourself in, that you're all agreeing to be good in, you have to keep alert because that person is going to take advantage. But you're in a safe place.
When I see them in documentaries, they're always coincidentally stupid.
Nah, here's Margaret saying embarrassment and shame is so powerful and helps bad guys exploit their victims.
Yeah.
That's actually, Keith, how you speak about your father as well. And it took you a very long time to understand how evil.
I didn't hug him. I didn't go to his church.
You didn't, but you kept in touch with your siblings because you knew they were the reason why you liked family. Like there were people in the cult that is your family that you knew were worthwhile and that had their right mind, and collectively you kept that poison out, but the poison kept trying to infiltrate, and it's usually the leader.
The great Norm Macdonald would say, you always heard Hitler was a great public speaker, a great way of talking. And he goes, I'm watching these videos. He's like, I don't really think he's so fucking great. I don't get it.
That story from Heaven's Gate, I never forget that. The Heaven's Gate cult, Marshall Applewhite, when they decided to start castrating the men, Because they were one of the things about Heaven's Gate, if you ever watch those documentaries, like most of the people in that cult were running away from being gay, I think. Like definitely the two leaders of the cult, but then if you look at everyone else, it's like all these people seem kind of gay.
Right.
Looking for community, looking for a safe
right,
space.
and to like shut
embarrassment
their sexuality
and shame
off, right? It was you weren't allowed to be sexual, you weren't allowed to be emotional, right? And you had to like talk about public shaming. You had to like write down for everyone to see on the doorways if you had a nocturnal emission or if you had felt emotion towards someone, all that kind of thing. But when they decided to start castrating the men, the first guy they did, they just had to rely on someone in the cult who kind of had a little bit of medical school. You know what I mean? Like they couldn't have like a real doctor do it.
Right.
And the guy's junk, his balls and everything just ballooned into like, a disaster. It was just clearly a medical monstrosity. And Marshall Applewhite said to the group, "I have done something terrible. Take me to the police." And they all gathered around and were like, "Absolutely not." You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, the group is just like covering, like wait, we're not going to let you destroy our image of you.
Right.
Yeah.
I did that Landmark. Maybe you know it as Est back in the day, and it's a money making scheme. But I wouldn't necessarily say evil. But I at one point, you're in that room for like 12 hours a day, easily 3 days if not more, and people this guy's going to change your life, make you a better person. Most people don't talk, certainly not like we do. Most people aren't open, and they'd like to finally be heard about anything. So they're really liking this guy, almost like a father figure. I don't think I'm exaggerating. So one day, one of his tricks is you go on a break, and there's always a couple people are late. So he goes, "All right, people are late," like he didn't see it coming, but it's in that book in front of him that he's reading. He's like, "You're late? You're not taking me seriously? I'm not going to teach the class anymore." He just stands there. And so a couple of people are like, "Okay, but I wasn't late. Can you please?" It's like, motherfucker, you paid $1,200 to be here. All right, you're going to have a lawsuit if he quits this. And people are like, "Please, Daddy, please teach us a little more." And all I'm thinking is like, you're an idiot. It's a fucking trick, obviously. I don't even blame the guy taking advantage so much as that you're just so fucking stupid that I couldn't help but think that.
It's not stupid. It's having it's having a language that you take for granted that you have been honing for 18 plus years.
He wasn't that clever.
It's not that clever for you in a world where you get to express every fucking emotion you've ever come to, and we are still thinking you don't have all the colors of the rainbow of all your feelings.
How'd this get offensive? She will not say smart, will she?
I mean, look at people trying to get over how they were raised, the secret lives of who their parents really are, the shush shush, we had a perfect upbringing. There's a lot of shushing.
Yeah.
You're forgetting how much we get to express ourselves on a regular basis, and we still get fucked. We still get people lying to us. We still believe some stuff that maybe we should. Not you, Keith. All praises. You never believe any lies that,
Can't
I
trick
get
me.
it. And you're also hiding in a bunker that is your house / the movie theater. However, the rest of us who are out here. That's right. That's right. The rest of us trying to find friends or trying to navigate between people who have our hearts in mind or people who are going, "Oh, you have a good heart. I'm a person who takes advantage." And sometimes, that's a hard line. That's why don't let people force you to hold their secrets. You have to tell someone, whether that's a professional or someone else. But anyone who says, "Don't tell this to people, don't tell this to people," constantly, that's a red flag.
You know what I say? You're only as sick as your secrets. And what I mean by that is the secrets are what's making you sick. Anyway, keep your eye open for cults. Don't let anybody get you. KeithAndTheGirl.com/tattoos. It's all the people with Keith and the Girl tattoos. Okay. Kevin Allison, you want to check out the podcast Risk? He has a book of the same name. It's excellent. He also has the storystudio.org, the storystudio.org. Tell me if I'm saying this right, whether you want to be a professional speaker or not. Maybe you don't want to get sucked into a fucking cult because you never told your story. He's going to tell you how to express yourself. Am I saying that right?
You got it.
And think of a better person to walk you through that. Try to tell him something that would put his jaw on the floor. We tried this whole episode. Look at him. Nothing. Nothing.
You only did when I wasn't, when I was confused about the
Right.
Netflix.
If you're a fan of Keith and the Girl, spread the word. That's how not cults work. Tell your friends, send a link, click the like button, buy the Keith and the Girl gear. We got hoodies, mugs, all of that. KeithandTheGirl.com/gear, GEAR. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Ryan V is saying, here's a new spin-off show idea, Trick or Keith. Keith just goes off for 10, 15 minutes on whether something is a trick or not.
I like it.
Kevin, thanks again. You're always the best.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Stick around, Kevin, for 1 second. Something has to upload with the audio, if you please.
Sure.
Let me see how to stop this.
Bye, live folks. Thanks for listening. Click all the buttons.